Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The big un is here, and he is leading his Waaagh. His Waaagh is now going up against the throng of the Dawi, as we have RTK Terrez leading the Greenskins, and Vendacious is leading the throng of the Dawi. So for the Greenskin army here, we have a front line of goblins with spears. It's kind of some nice chaff units. We have 4 orc boys kind of behind them. And we also have 2 goblin archers, one of them being the Rusty Heirs, a very good unit against the Dawi with their armor sundering. We have 2 black orcs, just very good elite infantry, do very well against any of the high armored troops of the Dawi. We also have the goblin big boss with They Need Stabbin' and Night Goblin Shaman with Itchy Nuisance, and one more spell being Sneaky Stabbin'. So one giving a nice little buff to melee attack, the other debuffing their opponents. We, of course, are being led by Grom the Paunch on his trusty chariot with all of his lovely buffs as well. Give us nice leadership buffs and the works. We also have a lineup of Night Goblin Squig Hoppers, one of them being Durkat Squigs. Very good anti-infantry, armor-piercing unit. Good against the Dawi forces, maybe not any of the elite units, but good against kind of the Dwarf Warriors and the like. We also have 2 units of Goblin Wolf Riders, one of them being Malgrub's Mangy Marauders, so they have some nice armor-piercing shots to do work against the Dawi as well. So now for the throng of the Dawi backline, we have some Dragonback Slayers protecting the cannon crew, and we have a Rune Lord leading the forces with a Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin. We have a front line of miners mixed in with the Ikran miners, the ROR unit, and Norgrimling's Iron Breakers. We have just 3 units of Dwarf Warriors as well, and 2 Iron Drakes, providing some nice ranged firepower. And on the far flank, we have 2 Gyrocopters, just the steam variant, not the Brimstone cannons, but some nice Air Force is always nice to have. So we will get things going as the 2 armies are starting to approach one another. Looks like for the Greenskins, we just have the Goblin Wolf Riders kind of coming up first to kind of do a little bit of skirmishing. But the cannons are singing, and they are going for, it looks like, the Black Orcs, which is a very good target for them. Very high armored unit, which the miners and the Dwarf Warriors won't be able to really deal with that well. So any amount of whittling down that they can do will be very useful. And some shots raining in from the Goblin Wolf Riders, doing some very respectable damage against the Iron Drakes. Nice armor-piercing shots, as the Iron Drakes are trying to get some shots off in return. We also have now the Gyrocopters are kind of coming in from the rear, looking to get some shots into maybe some unsuspecting Greenskins, but it looks like the Wolf Rider Archers are turning to fire, as well as both of the Goblin Archers are going to be providing some firepower as well, so that Armor Sundering is going to do very good work. But Grom is getting some nice free charges into the Miners, and luckily it looks like the Miners did have fire at will turned off, so they weren't wasting any of their shots on a single entity, even though he is weak to fire with his regen. Getting some nice returning fire, though, into the retreating Squig Hoppers, as the Rune Lord probably maybe sticking his nose out a little too far. It looks like the Goblin Wolf Riders are able to screen out these Gyrocopters, one of them taking quite a bit of damage, still at 3 units, but is down to half health. So those archers did very good work against them. So now some nice shots raining into the goblins, doing decent damage, clipping the side, but now they are opening up and absolutely taking these goblins apart, as well as these 2 Iron Drakes firing in. So this is the power of the miners at work, as they are instantly routing these goblins. These units are also routing, but now these Squig Hoppers are getting in, shutting down any more returning fire. But 2 of the goblins have already routed, 1 shattered completely. So most of the chaff infantry has already been eliminated. But yeah, back in the back, we have the Wolf Riders still screening out the Gyrocopters, doing a lot of damage. So they're still at 3, but they are pretty much routing out them, so that's a very good trade. If we look back to the frontline engagement, Norgrimlings are being at least kept from firing their shots by these Squig Hoppers for now. as well as the orc boys are engaging the miners. And now we have the big infantry coming in, the black orcs, as the fanatics get a nice shot into the side of these dwarf warriors. That one unit doing a lot of damage. But yeah, now the black orcs are getting into the fight as they are very close to the Norgremlings. Ichinus is going down, reducing that melee attack and weapon damage. So these dwarf warriors are now going to be pretty much wet noodles against the infantry, as the black orcs are now surrounding these miners with the orc boys as well. And this full health unit of black orcs is going to be the big threat to the dwarven infantry, though the slayers have gotten a surround off on Grom the Paunch, so their anti-large is going to do very well against him. But he should be able to easily pull out. There really shouldn't be too much of a threat for him, as he's able to just pull out and then use his regen to regain all that lost health. Cannons are still singing and doing some good damage to the black orcs. It looks like they are actually able to rout the black orcs, which is very good, but we have the goblin big boss now coming in to shut down what's left of the cannon's ammunition. It doesn't look like the Dawi are responding to that at all. They really should send something over there to at least allow these cannons to continue firing. That goblin big boss is going to be able to just freely engage, and those cannons should either need to pull off of their artillery or have one of these units go and support. Though the Rune Lord really wouldn't be able to do too good against the Goblin Big Boss. He's not really a melee combatant, as now Grom is pretty much free to engage. So when he's here now, he's surrounded by his own infantry, and these Slayers will disengage, going for those Night Goblins. Some more shots raining in from the Iron Drakes, clipping these Black Orcs, but the Durkak Squig Hoppers and the other unit of Squig Hoppers are going to be able to shut them down. Though it looks like these Squig Hoppers might instead choose to just chase off some of the routing units of the Dawi, but it does look like they finally decide to go in and shut down that last unit of Iron Drake, so a very good choice there, as now the gyrocopters are both back, but we're down to just 3 units overall, as now the Goblin Wolf Riders are continuing to resume their barrage against them, but doing some good work so far. Squig Hoppers again being able to just easily chase off any of the routing units, and these Dwarf Warriors are probably going to take a meaty charge from them. Those 2 units should be able to handle that very well. And now Grom is supporting his Goblin Big Boss. These Slayers are now surrounding him, and some shots are raining in from the Iron Drakes. Now the Iron Drakes probably don't necessarily want to be taking these shots. Yes, they are doing some fairly good damage to Grom, but they're also going to be clipping into the Dragonblack Slayers fairly well. Especially these shots coming in right now, I feel like is definitely going to be doing more damage to the Dragonblack Slayers than to Grom himself. Though it does not look like those Slayers were quick enough, and the cannons are going to be routing with only 3 of their crew left to go, as this main engagement of elite infantry is still ongoing. The Norgremlings holding back the Black Orcs while the Iron Drakes provide fire support, but the fire support from the Greenskin side is also going to be doing very good work, if not more so, with their armor sundering, and the already very respectable armor piercing values that the Black Orcs have should allow them to trade fairly well into the Norgremlings. Norgremlings trying to pull back here a little bit, trying to hopefully get some of their blasting charges off, but it looks like the Black Orcs are kind of pulling in to engage, but only a couple of their models are, as they do take a nice meaty salvo of blasting charges. So now if we kind of swing out a little bit more, it looks like, yes, one of the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers is routing. Another one has completely shattered, but we still have the Durkaks and, of course, Grom, who has quite a bit of healing left. But if we take a look at the ranged firepower left for the Greenskins, it looks like the only thing left is just the generic Goblin Archers. So these gyrocopters are going to be able to just pick and choose who they fire their shots off onto. So that is going to be a very good benefit for the Dawi, as the Dawi are a little bit ahead in that balance of power. As it looks like actually the cannons are coming back online, able to man one of their units, so they might be able to get a few shots off. That will be pretty critical, but these Night Goblin Squig Hoppers are closing in onto that cannon, and then it should be able to shut it down. Only 3 left, and just, doesn't look like they're able to get any shots off. There's nothing really close enough to support them, so the mobility that is left from the Greenskins was able to quickly eliminate that threat. So yeah, now the gyrocopters, yeah, they're using up the last of their ammo onto the Goblin Wolf Rider archers. It might be a good idea to, well, actually, they probably need to, yes, they still need to stay away from the Goblin archers. But they're low enough on ammo where you should just be able to dodge what's left and then have free reign to pick and choose who they shoot against and be able to rout whoever they need. Now the Dawi are reforming their ranks as they go to chase after the Greenskins, who it looks like the Greenskins are looking to chase off one isolated unit of miners. The miner must have been chasing off another of the Greenskin forces somewhere off into the sunset. So they are going to be hounded by the mobility of the Greenskins as Grom, these Goblin Wolf Rider archers, are both coming in to get a nice charge off onto them. Going right through their lines. Both are pretty low health, but yeah, these Goblin Wolf Rider archers, they just need to pull back, cycle back in, as now Grom is going to be able to easily rout what's left of those miners. And look back, we have the gyrocopters are firing into these orc boys, being able to rout them. I don't need to be wasting any more ammo on that target that's already routing. I easily should just be able to have one of the gyrocopters go into melee and push that one off while the other one gets its targets off, or its shots off. And I would probably say go for the Black Orcs. Would probably be a good shot to go against kind of the last kind of major infantry force left for the Greenskins. Then we, of course, we have Ground the Paunch, who is still going to be healing, so the longer it takes for the Dawi to catch up to what's left of the Greenskins, the more health he will be able to get back. And he still has quite a bit left on his healing cap, so that is going to be a big threat if the Dawi cannot finish him off quickly. And what they have left to deal with him is really going to be the Slayers. Though, I mean, if Terrez plays his cards right, they will never be able to get on to Grom. Grom has the vastly superior mobility and the mass where he'll just be able to easily push through any of these Dawi troops, so he should be able to get quite a bit of value on what's left. So yeah, we still do have both of these gyrocopters chasing off this one unit of orc boys. Only need to have that one that has just a couple of shots left of ammo. Should be helping the main engagement, as yes, Grom is just pushing straight through the units, going after those Iron Drakes, which is probably, outside of the Slayers, the biggest threat against what's left of the Greenskin infantry. If they are able to roast either these Goblin Archers or even the Black Orcs is low enough where it'll do very good damage, though they have chosen to, again, instead fire into Grom the Paunch himself. Again, he does have weakness to fire with his regen, but now the Nurglings, they were not broken from that charge, so they are able to get a few more salvos off, aiming for Grom, but able to clip the Mangy Marauders, who have now completely shattered, and an Itchy Nuisance going down on the bulk of the Dawi line, as now the Greenskins do charge into them. Some nice shots going into what's left of the Slayers, as the gyrocopter does try and break the Rusty Arrows. But Grom is just cycling through the big threats that are left for the Dawi. Taking out these Iron Drakes, routing that one unit there. The Black Orcs are engaging another isolated unit of miners. That miner really needed to stay with the rest of the Dawi line, just engage what they needed to. They did not need to push in, so they're going to be losing that unit to the Black Orcs without enough value gained in return. We have, Grom is really just kind of going through. Well, really, the gyrocopters are probably the only thing with mass that could hold him in. They are very low in health, but it might just be long enough to deal enough damage to Grom. But one of the units does go down right there. So it's just these two models left, and they are getting very low on leadership, so they probably won't be around long enough to do that. How the Dragonback Slayers are getting onto their target, getting on top of Grom. See if they have enough units left, as Grom is... let's see, does he have Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin on him? It does not look like it. So Grom will easily be able to pull out and continue cycle charging what is left. So it looks like for the Greenskin army, we just have the Night Goblin Shaman, and the rest are routing, but we still have a full unit of Goblin Archers, though they have used all their ammo. Those 83 model count will do very well at bogging down what's left of the infantry of the Dawi, and allow Grom to continue to cycle through all the units, just kind of push in and out of this blob of infantry, doing very good work. Though the Dawi are chasing after this Night Goblin Shaman, if they're able to take him out, that'll be very good, as that will eliminate the casting potential for the Greenskins. That Itchy Nuisance and Sneaky Stabbins is going to be very helpful in the late game if there's any cast left. Though it is routing, though it did route away from the Dawi and through his own units. So that's going to be very helpful for them as Grom pops his Lucky Banner, and the Great One is here. So they're getting a nice leadership buff, melee attack, resistance, all that good stuff. So the Night Goblin Shaman is almost certainly going to be back any second now with that nice leadership buff, and Grom is able to just continue to cycle through. Nothing can stop him from doing that, because we still have, these Goblin Archers are engaged. So there's, and the Dawi just don't have the mass to hold Grom down. And there is that Itchy Nuisance, giving that massive debuff to what's left of the Dawi infantry, and even these Goblin Archers are going to be able to hold their own against the Dragonback Slayers and the regular unit, as Grom just works his way through and just deals with them piecemeal. So yes, it doesn't look like the Dawi has anything left to really deal with. These Dwarf Warriors are running, and even if they do come back, they're just not going to have enough to deal with Grom. Even if Grom decided to just engage in combat and not cycle charge, I don't think what's left could even deal with him. The Rune Lord is not a melee specialty unit, and yeah, the Slayers are now all gone, so army losses, I'm sure, will be kicking off any second now. So that's going to wrap things up here any second, as the Rune Lord will soon break, and Grom the Punch and his Waaagh will defeat the throng led by Vendacious. So yeah, looking at the after report, Grom doing an astounding amount of work with 225 kills, just working his way through all of the units, dealing with the Iron Drakes, all the miners, just doing very, very good work. This one unit of Black Orcs really got its key engagement, dealing with the Norgrimling's Ironbreakers. So 79 kills, the majority, if not all of that, was all on the Norgrimlings. The other unit did get shot up by the cannon, so the cannon did do fairly good work. It was able to keep this one unit of Black Orcs from doing any noticeable damage. But yeah, then that getting taken out by the Goblin Big Boss was really kind of a killer, because they still had quite a bit of ammo left, and had it been able to continue firing, I think that may have been enough to sway the battle the other way. Again, yeah, the miners, that initial salvo on these goblins just absolutely just demolished them very, very quickly. But yeah, the Rusty Errors and the Morgrim's Mangy Marauders, I think, were a kind of an unsung hero in this matchup, as they really just dealt with the gyrocopters completely. There was nothing that they could... The gyrocopters, yeah, they just got taken to a low enough health early enough in the match where they weren't a threat in the late game, where they couldn't stay engaged against the targets that they wanted to be against. So they had to kind of just take what they could get. And so they got just maybe some slightly unideal matchups with who they were shooting at. But yeah, Grom the Punch, though, in the end, he was just way too much, where there's nothing that could really deal with him. I mean, even looking at this army, I think they needed some kind of gunpowder to deal with Grom, because yeah, there was no mass, and the gyrocopters probably were the only thing that could have pinned Grom in place for long enough to deal enough damage with the Slayers. But otherwise, yeah, it was a very good match. I hope you all enjoyed it, and have a good one.